Welcome, everybody. Super casual edition of the Stone Fruit Roll-Up. Every Thursday, YouTube and on LinkedIn. I am your affable host, Rebecca Gunter, here every Thursday, high noon, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, LinkedIn on YouTube. This is the show about building the show you're watching right now, a wildly experimental digital marketing space in which we are having tremendous fun playing on the platform and trying to deliver as much value pudding as possible. Today is a casual day, as you can see. I'm not in my fancy camera, and I'm wearing my Copywriter Club t-shirt, which indicates that I'm going to show you about some copy today, and that will be our topic of conversation. Or should I say copy? No, that doesn't work. I'm going to have to workshop that. Anyway, today I have a presentation for you called Shine Online with Copywriting, and it is a delightful walkthrough, kind of 30,000 foot perspective on how to create a brand voice for yourself and write copy that is truly engaging without being a copywriter. So this isn't a dense procedural for folks who are already kind of deeply in the field regarding a specific kind of copywriting, rather a gentle meander through the culture of writing copy for your project, for your people, for your brand, your business, for yourself. How do you approach copy and create that coveted conversational style? That is our topic of conversation today. It is just me, Rebecca Gunter, again on the Stone Fruit Roll-Up every Thursday here on LinkedIn and on YouTube at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is a wonderful little kind of, again, casual meander through copy development, as next week on the Roll-Up, we start a 6-part series, a business builder driven by Jill Mokes, around the concept of rewilding your business. And that's going to be a beautiful 6-parter and super serious. So today we'll just do something fun and light-bodied, as we say in the wine world, and walk through the power of copy. And so without any further ado, my delightful audience of Susan Collins. Susan Collins, what's up, girl? We're going to talk about copy. This is how I write. This is how I write for my clients. Been able to make a living at it for at least the last decade. I'm not trained as a copywriter. I'm not an English major. I'm actually, my degree's in anthropology. So I come by it just kind of like naturally. And this is the way we're going to do it for you. So Susan Collins, so cool to see you. Thanks so much for showing up. One of my favorite people to write for, who is an incredible talent strategist and a consultant and a coach. If you are struggling with your next steps in your career, albeit corporate or otherwise, please run, don't walk over to the Network Concierge and Susan Collins and go get yourself some excellent coaching, because she is going to say the quiet part out loud. You figure out how to make the most out of your career moves. So yay for you, girl. Thank you so much for coming by. I'm going to show you how to write some copy. You won't even need me anymore. Ha, just kidding. You're going to need me, because our collaboration is fire. All right, everybody. Oops. Let me scroll back in my bad. Shine Online with Copywriting. All we're going to do is talk about how to write copy today. So I am Rebecca Gunter, Peach and Chief of Stone Fruit. I'm a brand developer, a copywriter, and an entrepreneurial advisor. I help folks see themselves as they truly are in their brand expression and their business building, and articulate that value for the world. Yes, you will always need me. I agree. All right. So even if you are not a copywriter or a marketing person, There's no reason that copy should be a thing that intimidates or scares you, because here to show you that no matter what your job is, you can channel your inner copywriter, you can channel your inner Rebecca. Today, I need today I need you to be a baker, and we're gonna make this delightful little kitty cake. I'm sure we all can nail it. So this is really around the idea of being someone who can kind of pick up a new skill or try their hand at something. What would happen here? Oh, nailed it! Nailed it! How about being a photographer? It was certainly anybody who's got a marketing concern that involves marketing requires photography. Maybe you need branded portraits. Maybe you need um, kind of what we think about as B-rolls, kind of background shots to support your website or your social media campaign. And we can't always bring in a high-end photographer, so we'll try and be a photographer then instead. And we don't have to worry because we know that we're gonna absolutely nail that one, right? Nailed it. God, I love nailed it. Look at this baby. He's so funny in his diaper. But today we're gonna be writers. And so instead of a cheeky nailed it post, we're really going to talk about what it would mean to be a writer within your concern, and what it might look like. I hope to make writing copy feel less daunting and less kind of something only other people can do. So we're gonna whoa, those fonts are crazy. Fonts didn't load. Jody's gonna kill me, you guys. We're gonna create some pitch perfect branded copy. Why does it even matter? Why do I care so much about copy, and why am I taking an hour or 45 minutes of your life today to explore why copy matters? Why can't we just throw something into Chat GPT, or kind of have our teenage kids write them? Not to say teenage kids can't do it. Mine produces this show, but writing is a tremendously important piece of what you're doing. So while you can throw things into Chat GPT, I'm not punching down at that as an option. Let's explore why copywriting matters and what it does, so that you can get a sense of how important it is. Copywriting definitely creates connections. We learn by storytelling. Much more than data or facts, we learn by storytelling, and that happens in copy and creating connections, which is beautiful. Copy can absolutely create something that people can resonate with. If you write the words that make people feel kind of seen and connected to, and you truly understand your audience, or the mission that you're both on, or a shared interest that you have, that copy will resonate and harmonize with your people, which is pretty beautiful. Copy gives you a reason to believe. This is an important piece I kind of want to stop and pause on, because core values comes up more and more within the branding sphere and business building. Increasingly over the last 10 years, I've noticed that both clients and consumers really, really care about a value driven presentation and a value driven communications and value driven business. It's such a powerful tool to think about your core values and doing business with other folks who share similar values. I think it's the ultimate leverage in a way. And that sounds like I'm kind of on an abusive relationship with values, but values allow you to pivot and change anytime you want to, without as much struggle, because you've attached the values to your business and who you are rather than the services you provide. A pretty powerful example: in my 10 years, I had a real estate client who had a business model that was really around kind of just shared partnership in single family homes that were purchased and renovated and managed as a rental, kind of one at a time. And they shifted to a private equity model, And we were able to do that very effectively by marketing and branding around their core set of 7 values, so that when people were spending money with them, for lack of a better way to describe it, it was around it was around doing their core values. Tony is coming in the comments delightfully. What a darling, to tell me that I'm not on camera. I am purposely kind of not on camera. I guess I could be over here. I'm struggling with a cough and kind of a downward turn in health. And so doing a presentation in which I'm not really, really on camera was appealing to me. And I thought maybe this would be a way to kind of catch some eyeballs. But I guess you don't really know if I'm live or if you're looking at just a still picture. So good note, Tony. I'll move myself down here. How's that? Awesome. Thanks for participating. You're so sweet. All right. So copy gives you. Oh, thank you, Tony. Thanks. I'm looking cute today. My Copywriter Club t-shirt, super casual, just a walkthrough and copy, and a chance to relish in a glorious presentation by Jody Wissing. If you did not have a chance to see Jody's Stone Fruit Roll-Up, in which she shared her passion for creating presentations and how information should be shared, this is a wonderful chance to kind of bask in that, because this is a presentation that Jody designed. So thanks, Jody, and thanks, Tony, and thanks, Susan Collins, for being here today. I honestly thought I would have no audience and we would pawn the replay, but here we are. How awesome. All right. So I'm throwing around the word branding all over the place in this presentation. What does that actually mean? It's a word we hear all of the time, and people are constantly kind of bantering around ideas about how to define it. I think about brand as almost like culture from an anthropological perspective. It is all around us all the time. It's everything we say, be, and do. Your brand isn't in any way limited to your colors, your fonts, the way your website looks, your look and feel. It is literally like everything. In my opinion, it really is your reputation brought to life in words, actions, and images. And I'm focusing today on the words part, but that's really what I mean by brand. Good copy doesn't stick in the dichotomy of business to business or business to consumer. It really is about human to human. When I first started out, and sometimes often today, when I'm writing a piece and I'm getting kind of stuck on how to approach it, I strip away the idea of millions of, the fantasy idea of millions of eyeballs on this thing, and just think about one singular person, and I will write just to them. And that's really the human to human approach. That's how we can come up with a conversational style that people find so attractive and delightful to read and engage with. So think about it more as human to human rather than business to consumer or business to business. I think we get really stuck in business to consumer in almost this like one-way street of kind of yelling a brand articulation at someone, and with business to business we get stuck in resume speak and buzzwords, synergy, inspiration, blah blah blah, and we kind of strip the human to human element out of it. So the most successful copy, in my opinion, is really written from the perspective of people to people. And you can easily do that by just stripping away the idea of lots of eyeballs and just think about one singular set and what they need to hear. Good copy and brand develop trust. This is really what copy is all about, and why you write in a conversational tone is establishing and reinvesting over and over again in trust. Never before has it been as important to be like authentic and real. Like, it's just, we're kind of inundated with AI and the deep fakes and etc. And also brands that kind of maybe don't align with your values. So trust is a really important thing to build, and copy can do that. Tony wants to know how I achieve human to human copy. that is to be business to business, it's still people working. Maybe it's still people working at it's still a real person reading this thing. So it's really about going deeply into your own humanity to recognize that people buy from people. Just because you have a product doesn't mean it's, again, this one-way street of information. It is a two-way street of kind of trust and communication when you're really building brand loyalty or you're bringing your reputation to life in words, actions, and images. So again, it's kind of really goes back to like, who's it for? Who is your audience? My dad was an English teacher. He taught, kind of like traditional English for a very long time, and then English as a second language. And he shaped a lot of how I write today. It's skewed more academic than kind of commercial marketing wise, but any, any Oxford comma, Tony, or parallel construction, or just having a cogent way of writing has come from working with my dad as an adult. He would bring up a Zoom, or at that time it was Skype. We would bring up Skype screen share. We would put on our headphones, and I would have to read the thing out loud, sentence by sentence, and we would validate each thing before we moved on. And always, who's it for was at the center of that conversation, and the answer could never be nobody. So who's it for? If it's business to business, there is a hiring manager, or there is an head of IT, or there is, Tony, it's subject near and dear to your heart, a head of HR who, maybe you have a product for HR. That person is still a person. And if you kind of stop thinking about like writing, within the zeitgeist of industry and just humanize your copy, it has a lot higher success rate where people feel like they actually kind of know you or can become just a relationship with a brand that's beyond buy me, buy me, buy me, buy me. Excellent question. All right. What is not working? Jody's going to kill me about these fonts. It's not working. Why I'm pushing a conversational style for copy and a human to human connection that builds trust and connections and offers insight, pushes back, or as Tony likes to say, punches down at some older schools of copywriting that we all have leaned in on from time to time, sometimes more often than not, where you just start to write like you expect things to be written. And what that does is create this just like homogenous mass of, content with no real there. I think a resume is a perfect example of that, in which we just kind of get acculturated to writing a resume in this very like antiseptic, jargon laden business speak that says nothing and doesn't really tell the story. So this is the part of the presentation, Tony, where I'm punching down at business speak, annoying and pretentious and useless. Another, I guess, pitfall to avoid when writing copy is something that leads with your resume first. And what I mean by that is starting every kind of compelling call to action or compelling kind of lead in with the amount of experience that you have or where you fit in the marketplace. A really awesome example of that is like, over 20 years of experience in the plumbing, HVAC industry. Well, I can promise you that somebody else behind you has 21 years of experience. And so your argument for how much, what your resume boasts falls really flat if that's what you're leading with all of the time. It's not to say it's not important, of course. If you have 20 years in the plumbing industry, you know what you're doing. But that's not the reason that people latch on to brand loyalty. It is not about a time served. It really is about your kind of personality and your ability to understand who you're writing for and what problems you're trying to solve together, the community that you're trying to build, rather than your resume. So in the no department, resume first. Another thing I think that makes for very poor copy is all about me copy. Everyone has seen it. It is a real struggle when you're writing website copy and you need to lead with the client. It's just a mindset switch that you have to get into to make very successful like website copy or sales copy. When it starts with, let's take the plumbing company that I just invented out of thin air as another example. We've done this. Our stuff is this safe. This is what our equipment is. Here's who our people are. This is our philosophy. This is our mission. That kind of copywriting has thankfully, my opinion, gone by the way of the dodo bird, and which folks really only have, a fraction amount of time and bandwidth to be able to capture and engage their audiences. And that is really only going to happen when you don't lead with yourself or your experience, your resume, and you just launch into that in a client first or a prospective customer first. The customer needs to see themselves in your copy immediately, not see you in their copy. Yeah, and leading with testimonials and proof as well. 10,000 copywriters all agree, gag me with a sales spoon, when it is just relentless kind of proof of concept, which is again all around this like, business to consumer style that's leading with jargon or experience or, me, or proof, I think are just ineffective ways of presenting copy. Uh, and my all-time detestable unfavorite, punching down again, Tony, is the same way, doing it the way we've always done it. I think that is the one of the highest risks right now of engaging with AI generated content. And again, there's a role for it. I'm not saying that I'm not up here like, they took our jobs. It's just that AI, no matter, the prompts or the magic is in the prompts, and you can get very, very good at that. And I think that again, there's a place for it. But if you're not nuanced at that prompting, or you're kind of copying a style from somebody else, the danger here of us all doing it the same way leads to just not standing out in any way whatsoever, to not articulating your differentiator. It's if we've seen it all, we're scrolling on. So there's a danger, I think, in doing it the same way. For example, if you went to, let's just say if you enrolled in B school, which, so many successful entrepreneurs have come out of B school, but you're still using the same templates, then everybody else sounds like they came out of from the same exact soup. And you've got, then this landscape of folks in business who have their own beautiful, unique way of solving problems and working with clients who all sound exactly the same. And it's very difficult to stand out like a meerkat in a mass of mediocre when you're writing the same way. So, how does all of this happen? In this slide presentation, actually, the little poop is animated and he comes down. He's so cute. All right. It happens because we're trapped in the way we think we're supposed to sound. Again, consider yourself writing a cover letter to whom it may concern. This letter is to blah, 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 blah. We go and we look at examples. We don't know that there's really kind of another way that's not only acceptable, but better. We just get really trapped in how a website is written, how a sales page is written, how a welcome email is written. And then again, we're here in a sea of sound the sames. And if anything in the world is trying to get break out of that trap, boy, it is copy. Another reason we write crappy copy is because we get super insecure. Who is going to take me seriously if I start an email with, hey cowboys, it's hotter in here than a armadillo in the Texas. And we get insecure and we second guess ourselves and we start to wonder whether or not we would be taken seriously. And a perfect example of these are fields which are kind of traditionally considered, I don't know, button up is a good way of talking about it. Accountants, lawyers, very kind of like safety blue colors, banking. insurance. If I don't sound like a suit, no one will take me seriously. This is an excellent time to shout out my client Donna Bordeaux at Calculated Moves, who has several micro brands under her umbrella, and they are all fighting against the idea that the only way you can talk about being a CPA or accounting services is with a calculator, a pencil, and a suit and tie. She has blown the lid off of those ideas and created really approachable brands for her clients around campground and RV parks, around scuba dive shops, around paint your own pottery studios. These address that by going super, super niche. And if I ever write something that sounds like, if you picture an accountant in your mind's eye and I write something that sounds like that person, it's not going to fly, because Donna has broken free of the idea and secure in her, just secure in the way she presents her business, that she can dispense with the calculators and the pencil sharpeners and the abacuses and the suits and the ties and be herself and still have a thriving and robust. Whoa. The fonts on this presentation are something else. Yeah, kind of imposter syndrome. I was talking about this earlier with B School, of like, if you're just using the same templates that everybody else is using, and you're afraid to come out from behind that, it can really hold you back from writing compelling copy. It takes some bravery, I think, to just be secure and out of that. Awesome sauce. Again, tremendous shout out to Susan Collins and Tony Pareco for being here in the comments today when we're going through a PowerPoint presentation about marketing copy. It means the world to me that you guys are here and supporting this effort. I almost scrapped the live today because of my and I'm really glad I showed up. So, what is marketing copy? Ooh, one of my favorite topics in the whole world. Marketing copy is different than, business communications. Tony's a great example. We have a very different writing style. He's exceptional at communicating within kind of business communications. He's able to give context, grounding, call to action. Like, he's, just an exceptional of that. This ain't that. This is marketing copy, and it is a very unique animal. It's personality driven, and it's very, very creative. Friendly reminder that just about everything that you're doing personally for your own career, uh, Susan says she hates that I don't feel good. Thanks, girl. I appreciate you. But we're muscling through, baby, with this casual stone fruit roll-up. Everything you do is marketing copy, honestly. I mean, unless you're in that kind of like specific niche of business communications, as I shared about Tony just a few moments ago. Your resume is a marketing tool. It is not a report or a static rollout of the facts or your work history. It is a marketing tool. Everything you're writing, your personal emails, everything is marketing, because it is sharing, spreading awareness about who you are, keeping you top of mind, and convincing people to, kind of follow through on your call to action, even if it's reply to this email. It is a marketing tool. A resume is a marketing tool. Oh, a little crown. Adorable. Marketing comment copy is not shit. I just said a resume is a marketing tool, and then here's resume right up on the thing. It is not a resume. I know I just said it's a marketing tool. It's not a term paper. It's not an email to HR. Marketing copy is one very specific thing, and there's no one way to do it. I just kind of contradicted myself a little bit. I just want you to think a little bit outside the box when it comes to things we don't think of as being a tool of marketing. I do think a resume is to get you a job. That's a marketing thing. But, when we're writing for brands and business, it's not a resume, a term paper, or an email to HR. So the key is to loosen the grip on the way you think everybody wants to read things, your imposter syndrome, insecurity. Just kind of loosen up a little bit and be yourself, because everybody else is taken. If you like these adorable pictures, please consider getting some for yourself. These are all done by my girl Taylor Campia at Taylor Campio Photo and Video, also Make a Scene Media. You can find her at taylorkphoto.com. She does all of our headshots and fruit shots. She's awesome. Be yourself, stand out, and like a meerkat and a massive mediocre. Stand for something. Really good marketing copy stands for something, reinforcing your brand values and your ideas, and making an argument. Stand for something, and stand for something as well. Give them a reason to believe. So not only are you believing in your own thing, but you're giving folks a reason to get enrolled in that as well. That is beautiful marketing copy, does those things. And here is how. Let's get to the lesson. We've explored what is marketing copy. We've explored what it isn't, kind of why people get trapped in crappy copy and how to get out of that. So now let's look at how to do it. The first thing I do before I write anything at all, and I'm not exaggerating, I will write this for a Calendly call at that micro level, is to position yourself. And that is to create a worldview, or be able to answer the following questions. Who are people? What do they need? Who are we? What do we deliver? And why are special, different, or the one? I won't write anything at all until I've positioned it. It helps me write to that person. As I mentioned earlier, like, I just pick one person and I write to them exactly. This helps me identify who that person is and really speak to their needs. What do they need? What their pain points are. So do yourself a favor and write a positioning statement, or do some thoughts around positioning before you sit down to write marketing copy. I have noticed in my own journey as a copywriter that I can sit and stare at a page for 2 hours and really not know what angle to come at something, how to begin, how to craft it. It just becomes a relentless staring contest between me and the computer until I write a positioning statement. And if I write a positioning statement, the whole thing comes together like so flawlessly that I'm writing in 40 minutes versus 2 hours. It is worth the exercise. In order to do that, again, this font is so effed up. Sorry, Jody. Answer these questions. Who's it for? What do they need? Who am I? What do we deliver? What and why am I special, different, or the one? Because only. Both Susan and Tony have gone through this exercise of positioning with me. So once you've positioned yourself and you can answer those questions, these are my people, this is what they need, this is who we are, this is what we're delivering, and this is why they should care. Now, just put on your own empathy hat and put yourself in their shoes by working with their pain points first, problem solving first, and brand second. If you remember earlier in this presentation, or if you noticed earlier in this presentation, leading with your experience or your resume first, leading with your, kind of social proof first, leading with the I am statements first is not the way, in my opinion. This is the way. Again, there's only no one right way to do it. It's to starting with pain points first. Put yourself in their position, a day in their shoes. Approach your writing from this perspective of knowing exactly who they are, what they need, exactly who you are, what you're delivering, why it matters. And then when you write from the position that you're actually in their shoes, and you will find that empathy and understanding coming out in copy creates a conversation and creates some connection. Paint yourself a brighter picture. The most powerful proposals, which are a marketing tool, the most powerful proposals that I put out are ones in which I take time to future cast 18 months, 3 years, 5 years in the future, in which under the assumption that the client has hired me, this is what their future would look like. Maybe it's about presenting a keynote talk and all of their marketing elements are in glorious alignment and their brand strategy is sticky and compelling. Whatever future I think that they're going to come at out of our work together, I will articulate that in copy. And to read your future on a piece of paper is a very powerful effect. It's not just for proposals, emails, sales pages. Here's Susan as a wonderful example. So thrilled she's here today. But painting a brighter future in which you are not burdened by career confusion, where you have a clear path to making your own money moves, where you understand the value of your network, where you have a real grasp on the functionality and the various aspects of any role that you're in and how you can leverage them. That's a brighter future. And that's what I want to hear about in marketing copy, less than the doom and gloom of what happens if I don't address my career. So this is a honey more than vinegar type scenario. Back to human experience. Just think of it like writing a letter. If you're writing a social media post, if you're writing, again, website copy, if you're creating a welcome sequence for your email, if you're writing a Facebook ad, whatever it is that you're composing, if you think about it like a real person and you write a letter based in empathy and compassion, and you've really understood who your audience is, you're going to nail it at marketing. Dear future, I can't wait to get started. Dear potential client, I am so glad you found me. Dear potential partner, the world needs our help. Dear contract, we were made for each other. Write a letter. It is such a powerful and compelling approach to writing marketing copy rather than, again, the way we think it's always should be done, the way we've always seen it done, and from a very me first perspective. I love this. Find your tone. Brand voice is a hot topic. What does that even mean? Brand voice is the way in which you stylize how you communicate with people. I have a worksheet here that will help. Oh, I have to share the screen actually. Let's look at that worksheet, shall we? I have a worksheet here that will help kind of define brand voice and find a way to kind of articulate this piece of it. So this is a really kind of powerful way to think about finding your tone. Are you formal or are you chatty? Are you detached? Are you warm? Are you professional or are you wacky? Are you serious or are you humorous? Are you laid back or are you lively? Oops. And I was on pause. Okay. Are you succinct or are you verbose? Take time to think about. I'm going to put this link here in the comments. People can download it directly and get this worksheet for yourself. But take some time. Oops. It would be really helpful if I actually added that to the stage. StreamYard. Exactly. Can I provide that help operationalize tone? Yeah, well, I'm hoping this worksheet kind of does that, Tony. I should have actually shared it. Tony's asking me in the comments if we can provide an example that help one operationalize tone. I To operationalize tone from tone. This is the way that I'll formalize it. Um, it's a really good way of kind of institutionalizing how a voice should come across from an organizational standpoint so that two different people could write for the brand and it wouldn't be this like strong disconnect. If you kind of set the parameters within a dichotomy between kind of two polar opposites, it helps people ground themselves. So let's look at formal versus chatty as a really good example. A formal tone maybe doesn't use contractions, maybe never uses slang, maybe never uses a pop culture reference, maybe never addresses the audience directly, like, am I right, friends? A chatty tone might be might again be more informal, use contractions, use slang, make puns. as you slide things up and down the scale there, it's helpful to kind of different. This is really around defining your brand voice, and that's what tone is all about. So, excellent question, Tony. Thank you so much for showing up here today and participating. All right. So, like I said, the link here is in the comments. I'll also add them to the show notes. Not a very sexy link. It's just an upload from a Google Drive, but you can use this to directly access that worksheet and download it for yourself. There's also a nice little, let me actually come back here. There's also a nice little exercise at the bottom of it, which is around an inner spokesperson, which can also be a great way to kind of set and define your tone, especially if you're not a copywriter. And that is imagining an exercise where you're imagining a celebrity spokesperson who's either living or dead, real or fictional. And how would that character represent your brand voice? Kind of in an ideal world, you have a magic wand. Here's some examples, like Miss Piggy, Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, Dolly Parton in 9 to 5, maybe the Eagle from the Muppets. I'm just kind of throwing some things out here, like Alf. I don't know, what a silly example. I hope you're laughing, Tony. I brought Alf up here. If you can take the time to really identify, like, oh, my brand voice is really like, it's a little I'm trying to think of examples that aren't problematic, because there's so many people like problematic in the my brand voice is a little bit Walter Cronkite. Boy, that's a dated reference. I mean, solid news guy. Maybe a little more. My brand voice is very Anderson Cooper with a splash of RuPaul. I mean, that's a unique presentation. If you can identify a celebrity spokesperson that you're not going to use, but you can start to use to frame your tone, it's super helpful. So I think Elle Woods from Legally Blonde is a very good one. You know, we've got someone who's approachable, who's friendly, who doesn't punch down, who always sees endless possibilities, who wears pink, who, you know, has a little bit of a trend, you know, kind of fashion forward as you're writing copy. And you have that celebrity spokesperson in mind, you can just start to kind of channel that a little bit, or review copy and be like, would Elle Wood say that? No, she wouldn't. Then that's not for us. So using kind of that's this tone kind of gradient to help shape where your tone is, and a celebrity spokesperson, I just as an example, or you know, an ideal that just kind of sits on your virtual shoulder as you're writing, can tremendously help you find your tone. All right, find your tone. Yeah, formal versus chatting, detached versus warm, etc., and kind of where you are on that line. This is a real life example, Tony, that I've done in a brand guide for Hudson and Crane, which is a very cool furniture store in Washington, D.C. I would love to furnish my entire house from Hudson and Crane. We did a brand book, and you can see kind of where their tone falls, and everything we wrote for them that falls within that paradigm. So that was very powerful. All right, let's get it right. Getting within brand alignment, this is a really cool formula. So you remember in positioning, who are my people? What do they need? Who am I? What do I deliver? And why am I special, different, or the one? It actually kind of is a formula. Your people plus their needs equals you and your magic. Practice, baby. And we make really good marketing copy happening by practice. It took me, look, I do have a gift for it. That's no bullshit. Like I said, I sat down with my dad. I learned how to write. I worked for a brand strategy company agency who like really showed me how to write for marketing. I learned how to do positioning, all of that, but I only really get good by practicing. Just keep writing. Just keep writing. It's not a one-time thing. Just keep writing. Even if you have 3 different iterations of something before you publish and it's like a 2-sentence thing, just keep writing. Practice makes, and I want to say perfect, but the more you write, the easier it gets. The more you do it, the easier it gets. It used to take me a solid 5 days to write website copy kind of like beginning to end, home, about, services, contact, and, maybe branding a blog that used to take me 5 solid days. Hey, Ross Brand in the comments. We're going live stream all day. If you can't get enough of me and this like semi-healthy presentation, please join us on YouTube and also on LinkedIn for Stream Lead Report weekly live panel show with me and Ross Brand and Rob Greenlee, Claudia Santiago. That is the second favorite part of my day. So it's very cool that Ross is here today when he should be like, cracking the knuckles and boning up to be the host with the most over there at the Stream Lead Report. So thank you, RB, for coming in. All right, let's see some of this in action. I've talked long enough about being a copy, what makes good marketing copy. Let us see it in action. You're welcome, honey. So, this is an advertisement or some copy that supports a chocolate chip cookie. Few of us here have never had a chocolate chip cookie, so you know with that. Let's do a show. I agree. Let's do a show. We've all had a chocolate chip cookie, so we know what that's like. Let's read some copy. I've presented it 3 different ways. Chip cookie is the nation's leading confection. Made with the finest ingredients and baked to perfection, chip cookie is the best dessert. So here we have led with proof, all about me, my resume, that's the finest ingredients baked to perfection, and an assertion that it's the best dessert. It does not address any of the customer's needs. It does not address any of your values or personality. However, if you saw this, chip cookies, the nation's leading confection, made with the finest ingredients and baked to perfection. Oh my God, what a rhyme. Chip cookie is the best dessert. You would see that and it would be perfectly fine. You would not look twice at it because we've seen it before. It's exactly what we expect. Here's something that's a little better. You know you want it. That classic American cookie that's second to none, packed full of chocolate and gooey goodness. Chip cookie really satisfies. Better. We're addressing a pain point. You know you want it. We're saying why we're spectacular. It's second to none. It's a classic. It's packed with awesome chocolate and gooiness, and I'm painting a picture and I'm making it personal, and chip cookie really satisfies. That is a pain point. So this is better. When you look at this one, again, when you see it, it's fine. I've seen it before. That totally tracks. I'm into it. Better, gooey, chocolatey, satisfaction, want, and desire. Better. Way better. Psst. Hey, sweet tooth. The yearning is over. Chip cookie is here. Full stop. Tony wants to know if a cookie is really confection. I'd say more of a baked good. Boy, do we love to banter back and forth about what is classification and what isn't. I contend it's a confection. It is a sweet treat, a dessert, a confection, cake, cookie, quick breads, puddings, confections. Maybe you think confection is just candy. Interesting. More to discuss on that. All right, back to our presentation. Way better. Psst. Hey, sweet tooth. The yearning is over. Chip cookie is here. It is compelling. It's to the point. It's not leaning on ingredients or experience or being the best. It's just a secret conversation with your sweet tooth. I love that. Now go do that voodoo that you do so well. This is the kind of part of the presentation where I encourage you to go and become a more compelling copywriter for yourself without having to be a professional copywriter or hire someone to do it, just by adopting this idea of positioning yourself and the project, the idea of not doing it the way that everyone else has been doing it, humanizing, human to human experiences, and writing a love letter to your audience who you know so well is the key, I think, to compelling content. I wrote this presentation for Sparent, which is a very cool virtual assistant agency run by my my other copywriting hero, Jennifer Crawford, who's a natural at it. And you can get some more resources here if you visit RebeccaGunter.com/Sparent. If you'd like to contact me, RebeccaGunter@stonefruit.com, y'all know. And that takes us to the end of this delightful presentation, but not without one more compelling comment, which is that Susan Collins wants us to know that a dish or a delicacy made with sweet ingredients, a whipped chocolate and cream confection. I believe that a chocolate chip cookie is a delicacy made with sweet ingredients. I believe that a chocolate chip cookie, could be considered a confection. Baked goods could be anything. That could be savory. That could be a bologna. That could be a bagel. That could be, um, a savory hand pie, an onion tart. Confection is unabashedly sweet, which is just like you, Tony and Susan. Unabashedly sweet. And you, Ross. Which is super fun. I guess I'll end our delightful conversation today to just encourage you to write. It is not something that only, a few elite people can do. It is not something that only ChatGPT can do. If you just embrace, again, kind of writing a love letter to one particular person, and you do that based on very strong position and values, and you address the customer or the audience first and what they need, you too can be a copywriter, and create a connection and build trust with your audiences. And that is a very, very powerful thing. It's so cool to put words on a page and inspire another person to actually do something. That is really a powerful, powerful thing. And no piece of digital media exists in a vacuum without words and copy. Sure, we're here today live streaming, and you can make an argument that you don't need to write a single word when you are a podcaster or, creating a live show, etc. But I would contend that everything around that compels people to actually watch this show, like my three besties who are here today, comes from the compelling nature of very good marketing copy. And so I hope that folks at home take their hand at it and give it a little try. Susan, I know you write for yourself, which is awesome. And RB, you have a little talent for it as well. And I encourage us all to, go get a chocolate chip cookie at this point. That's what I'm hungry for. Please join us next week. We're kicking off a 6-episode series around rewilding business. It is led by Jill Mokes, who is my own personal business coach you've seen before on this show, hopefully, or no. Jill helps people cut through the noise and create a business that is bountiful and, unlimited. And she does that by helping people kind of weed out the stuff that no longer serves them and nurture and cultivate, nurture and cultivate the things that do serve their business. And I need it. I need to cut out some of the noise and really, really feed my garden in a better way. So we're going to do that live. Let's see if I can remember our topics of conversation, but she will be doing visioning and goals and marketing and sales and positioning, which will be super interesting. And all of those will happen over the arc of a single episode. She has workbooks for folks who want to do this for themselves at home, and you can kind of watch us go through the process. So that'll be very exciting. Next Thursday at 12 o'clock, we kick off that series here on YouTube and on LinkedIn. Again, a wonderful shout out to folks who showed up today. I was not sure if I was going to open the camera and go live, and I'm so glad I did. And shout out to Jody for creating this awesome presentation. The fonts could have loaded better, which made it clunky, so don't hold that against her. That's totally a me thing. And I thank folks for stopping by and being part of the Stone Fruit Roll-Up. It is a delicious endeavor, so let's get juicy. Bye, everybody.